Hello, dear students. Welcome to our video lesson. My name is Veronika Andrievna, and today we are going to work together. The topic of our lesson is Hero for a Day, Writing, a Story. So for the lesson we need your student's book, Prepare, Ukrainian edition 8, and your workbook. The aims of the lesson are to develop reading comprehension skills through the provided texts, to revise grammar structures introduced in the lesson, past simple, past continuous, to practice writing skills by preparing a story based on the topic Hero for a Day, to expand the vocabulary related to the topic of the reading, adjectives and adverbs, to encourage creativity and practical language use by integrating lessons material into stories. Let's start. Open your student's book and find page 35. Exercise 1. Writing a story. Look at the photo and the title of Alan's story. What do you think happened? So, a story about someone who prevented a pickpocketing or helped to catch a pickpocket. What ideas do you have? Let's continue. Exercise 2. Read Ellen's story. What do you think of the title for her story? Can you think of a better title? Hero for a Day. Last year, I went on a school trip with my classmates. We left school early by coach, and the journey took several hours. When we arrived, everyone was feeling exhausted. While I was getting off the coach, I noticed a man in his early 20s. He was standing really close to one of my friends. Suddenly, I realized what was happening. The man was trying to steal my friend's purse from her bag. I immediately shouted to my friend. The man heard me, and for a few seconds we looked at each other. Then he started running. Luckily, there were 2 police officers nearby. They ran after the pickpocket, and soon they caught him. The next day, there was a story about it online, and everyone was talking about it. I was a hero. So, what do you think of the title for her story? Maybe you can think of a better one. Great job! Exercise 3. Read the Prepared to Write box. Then read Alan's story again and put events from A to E in order. Decide which events belong to the beginning, middle, and end of the story. Prepare to write a story. When you write a story, make sure there is a beginning, middle, and end. Give the story an interesting title. Use verbs in the past simple and past continuous. Use adjectives and adverbs to make your story interesting. So, there are 5 events. Let's read them. A. Alan saw the pickpocket. B. The police caught the pickpocket. C. Alan got off the coach. D. The story appeared on the internet. E. The coach left school. Now you can pause the video, reread the story, and put the events in order. Now let's check. Beginning. E. The coach left school. C. Alan got off the coach. Middle. A. Ellen saw the pickpocket. B. The police caught the pickpocket. And the end? D. The story appeared on the internet. I hope that everything is clear, so let's move on. Before doing next task, let's revise some grammar. Past simple and past continuous. These tenses are very important for writing a story. Past simple is used for completed actions in the past, and past continuous is used for actions that were happening at a specific moment in the past. Past continuous sets the scene and past simple interrupts or follows the action. In past simple, we should use verb in the second form or verb ed. And in past continuous, we should use was, were, and verb ing form. You can see the table on your screens. So now, task 4. Working with the text, you need to find verbs in the past simple and past continuous. Pause the video and find the verbs. Now we can check. There are such verbs in past simple as went, left, took, arrived, noticed, realized, shouted, heard, looked, started, were, ran, caught, was, and once again was. And was feeling, was getting, was standing, was happening, was trying, and was talking in past continuous. The next topic that we need to revise is the difference between adjectives and adverbs. Adjectives are used to modify nouns and pronouns. Adverbs are used to modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. We can use these questions to differentiate them. Adjectives: what kind, how many, which one? And adverbs: when, how, where, to what extent. So, look at exercise 5. We've got some highlighted words in the text. Which are adjectives and which are adverbs? Pause the video and think. Now let's check. So, adjectives are exhausted and early, the second example. And adverbs are early, the first example, suddenly, immediately, luckily, soon. I think that you are tired. Let's have a break. Watch the video and repeat after it. I hope you can continue working. Let's move on. Open your workbooks on page 23. Exercise 1. Have you or anyone you know been burgled? What happened? You may use these phrases to describe the situation. For example, Yes, I have. No, I haven't. It happened 2 days ago, last year. It was unexpected, scary. I was frightened. The police caught. The police came. Great job. Exercise 2. We've got one more story. So, read Michael's story. Is Michael's story similar to yours or different? It was midnight, and I was watching a film when I heard a loud knock at the door. That's strange, I thought. Who could it be? I was a bit worried because I was by myself, so I quietly walked downstairs and stood by the front door to listen for any noise outside. I looked through the window, but I couldn't see anyone, so I slowly opened the door. Nobody was there. I still felt nervous, but I went back inside to finish watching the film. Almost immediately, I heard another knock. I thought it was someone playing a joke, so I opened the door and walked out onto the street to see if I could see them. I looked up and down the street, and after a minute or two, returned to my house. I had just started watching the film again when I heard a noise coming from upstairs. It sounded like there was someone up there moving around. I was really scared, so I ran straight to my neighbor's house for help. After a while, they answered the door, and I asked them to phone the police quickly. They looked at each other with worried faces. They rang the police and said they would come soon. While we were waiting for the police to arrive, we saw two men wearing black jeans and coats come out of my house with big bags full of things. They got into a car and drove away quickly. Not long after, the police arrived and checked my house. My mom's jewelry, my computer, and some cash I had in my room were missing. The police never caught the burglars, and we never got our stuff back. It was a nasty experience, but I tell myself that I had a lucky escape. So, is his story similar to yours or different? And now, after reading the text, we've got task 3. Tick the topics that Michael included. Pause the video and do the task. You can reread the story if you need. The correct answers are: what time the burglary took place, how many burglars there were, what they were wearing, how the burglars got away, who called the police, what the burglars took. Well done. So, task 4. Look at the highlighted words in Michael's story. Which are adjectives and which are adverbs? Add 2 more of your own to each group. Pause once again and complete the table. Let's check. So, adjectives are loud and scared, and adverbs are quietly, slowly, immediately, soon. You may add, for example, happy, sad, interesting for the first column, and for example, lately, beautifully, loudly for the second one. And one more exercise for today. That is exercise 5. Complete the sentences with an adjective or adverb from exercise 4. So there are such adverbs and adjectives as loud, scared, quietly, slowly, immediately, and soon. You may pause the video once again and do the task. Let's check your answers. So the first one, I was so scared. I called the police immediately. The neighbors said the music was too loud. I said goodbye to Ella and that I would see her soon. It was hard to hear him. He talked very quietly. The horror film last night made me feel scared. The book is complicated, so you have to read it slowly. Well done! Your homework is workbook, page 23, exercise 6 and 7. Prepare to write a story. Read the task, then plan your ideas and make some notes. So your English teacher has asked you to write a story. Your story must begin with this sentence. I knocked on the door and waited. So, you have to write about 100 words. Make sure there is a beginning, middle, and end. Give the story an interesting title. Use verbs in the past simple and past continuous. Use adjectives and adverbs to make your story interesting. Check your spelling and grammar. There are some questions that can help you to write your story. Where did the story take place? What happened at the beginning? What did you notice? What were the main events? What happened in the end? I've prepared the example of the story and you may listen to it. The secret behind the door. I knocked on the door and waited. It was quiet in the old house on street. Suddenly, I heard a loud bang. I opened the door and saw somebody had a bag full of money. I looked around and noticed on the wall. I phoned the police immediately and said. After that, the police arrested that person. In the end, the truth was found and the case was closed. Now the results of our lesson. We have developed reading comprehension skills through the provided texts. We have revised grammar structures introduced in the lesson. We have practiced writing skills by preparing a story based on the topic, Hero for a Day. We have expanded the vocabulary related to the topic of the reading. And now, the reflection. Choose the emoji if you can create your own story, can use the required grammatical structures, can use the required lexical structures. Thank you for the lesson and goodbye.